Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader. Find your own voice. Over to you, Amanda. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, good morning from Canada. It's bright and early here at 6 a.m. My name's Amanda Cottrell. I am a teacher, an artist, and an illustrator, and I'm the founder of Art, Mindfulness, and Creativity, which I help people find their own unique creative capacities within themselves and help spark their creative interests.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. Over to you, Carol Ann. I thought Amanda said to Carol Ann. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, good afternoon here from London in the UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs in becoming more productive with their writing by getting them in touch with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this came about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carol Ann, the writing facilitator, helping you unlock the writer within. Thanks, Nomsa.
So much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. So our topic today is how to treat life as your personal trainer. So Amanda, you've just reminded me, which topic were you talking about?
For today, the how to treat life as a personal trainer. I was talking about how I like
I forgot to change it here as well.
I like
so
that
Carol
one.
Ann, why I update here? Could you please explain the topic to our audience in your own understanding, please?
Okay. How to treat life as your personal trainer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that because life is always throwing up lessons for you to learn. And so however, maybe a situation arises that you're not comfortable with, there's a lesson there for you to learn. Maybe something doesn't go your way, the way you expected. There's a lesson for you to learn there. So that is how you can use it as your personal trainer, because it's training you, it's showing you the lessons that are there for you to learn, to help you to grow, not just in your business, but in your life as well. Because if we're not growing, then we're dying. And which would you prefer to be doing? So I know which I would. And there's always something more to learn. And experiences are really like at the weekend, what happened with the football match, England versus Italy. That what we can learn from that is so much, because it brought the country together. There was excitement like we've not had in a long time. But the fact that we lost, there's always something to learn from that as well. So you take it as a learning exercise. So for me, life is your personal trainer. Everything that shows up for me is how I live my life now. Didn't used to be, but it is now.
I looked at it from kind of a different perspective. And so I looked at it as like an accountability, because I think of a personal trainer as someone who keeps you accountable for your goals. And so I looked at this life as a personal trainer as, who do you have in your life that's going to help keep you accountable to reach your goals? And who do you have in your life that's going to push you forward? Because I look at a personal trainer as someone who's going to push you at the gym, and who's going to make you accountable to show up, and who's going to keep pushing you to that edge of what it is that you're capable of when you're working out. Because I was thinking of a personal trainer as a workout partner. And I know for me that when I don't have somebody to keep me accountable, I'm not always best at showing up. And so I was even thinking, like, I don't have a personal trainer at the gym, but I do have a girlfriend that I've been running with every like couple days. And so when we run in the mornings at like 7 a.m., if she wasn't there, I would not get out of bed. There's no way I'd be getting out of bed to run by myself at 7 a.m. But because I'm meeting my friend, and she's making me accountable, and we both have similar fitness goals, that we're making each other get up, and we're holding ourselves accountable. And I think of that as a personal trainer as well. So that personal trainer is there, or a life coach too, to hold you accountable and kind of guide and steer you in the direction of your goals. And so rather than looking at it from like life's lessons, I looked at it as that person who's driving you to strive for your goals, and also holding you accountable for what you say you want to achieve.
You're muted, Nomsa.
Thank you so much, Amanda. It's amazing how we all see life. We see this topic from a different point of view. So for me, I go with Carol Ann. I see it as a life lesson, because when I chose this topic, like Carol Ann was talking about the football. Actually, when England lost, I didn't cry, but I was very, very disappointed. I was really, really hurt, because I thought we are at home, and Wembley Stadium, and the trophy is coming home. But at the same time, I was so proud with the boys. I noticed people say they were not prepared. They were not that. It's when you're in that position, you know, when you are into it, it's easy to judge if you are not in that environment. But when you put yourself in that environment, the pressure, these boys have not been in the final for years, and now they're in the final. The pressure, they're at home. There's so much pressure, so many things going on. But for me, I'm so proud for the journey that they have achieved. It's not nice to be a loser. When I played football, I didn't want to be a loser. I never wanted to go home coming second. Even though people will comfort me and say, next time, I knew that I didn't go to the pitch to be the second. I went there to be the first. So I know how they feel, but they've done their best. So for me, is the lesson that what do you learn when you succeed in life, when you make mistakes? What does life treat you? So for me, that's why I chose this topic, that life has taught me so many things, that when you go through challenges in life, you're learning something out of those challenges. When you meet people, every person that I meet in life, for me, they've taught me something. Because I have to surrender myself. When I'm with people, I have to surrender myself. I was with the Carol Ann. She did. You did your event, and you invited me to the event. But as a gossip talk show owner, I could have easily said, "Wow, I know everything. I have my talk show. I don't have to attend Carol Ann's event." So, but because I'm here to learn on earth. So everyone that invites me to their events, if it makes sense, if I believe that I'm gonna learn something, I go to the event and learn something. And I learned something from Carol Annie's event. That's the process that I learn. Even Amanda, you talk about the gym. You know, when you go to the gym, you for the first time, you're in agony when you come out, but it doesn't mean you have to stop. You have to keep going back for your muscles to actually get used to that. But we don't see life that way. When we get pain, disappointment, we want to stop. But when we go to the gym because we want to look sexy, we want to look good, we feel like we have to keep going back. So I just see life is, you can treat life as your personal trainer.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think there's something in that, and I agree, Amanda, there's about being held to account. And I think in a lot of ways, life does hold you to account, because things happen. And unless we're used to understanding that there's the lesson, that nudge to keep going, and to, and not stop, then we're not able to learn from that and move on. But that is it's a skill, about being able to use life lessons as that accountability. If you're not actually where you want to be, look at what's happening, look at what you're doing, because life will give you the results. And there's that nudge. So it is interesting how we went sort of different, diverse ways, but there is something similar here, and it's great that you have someone to hold you to account and you can work together with that, because having somebody to work with you is it is really powerful. And I know that for me, it's like I often go, well, what's it going to take to have somebody working with me? I would like that partnership, that holding to account. But I keep getting, for me, it hasn't happened in a lot of ways, or it falls through. And for me, what I've had to learn is I need to be accountable for myself and be able to hold myself to account. Because if I can't hold myself to account, then I'm not going to let someone else hold me to account. So again, I've been learning, things that way. And so it is, when something doesn't work out, just look at it. And what can you be responsible for? So that's what I look at. And I love the way that, oh gosh, I've forgotten his name, with the England team. Is it Gareth? Their main coach. What's his name? No, sir. It's gone. You're muted.
So that's his name.
What? It's gone. But anyway, he actually took responsibility for choosing and making the selection for who did the
Carol, Anna, what do you want to know?
Their main coach, or their
You said his name though, Gareth.
It is Gareth
Southgate, yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's his name, but you said his name. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I doubt myself. That's the thing. I love the way he took responsibility. He said it was my choice, and he based that on previous, what had happened and how they performed, and that's all you can do. You make a choice, you make a decision based on where you're at and what's happened before, and whatever happens in that moment from that choice, you then have to reflect and say, right, okay, so what could I have done? What could we do? How can we move forward from this? It's not about making anybody wrong or slating them or saying, that's what happened. And was the pressure too much? Was there not enough warm up for the two that came on sort of last minute? Who knows? But there's something there for each of them to learn. And that's what needs to happen. They need to work on their mindset and get over the trauma to start with, so it's not held there. And then go, okay, how can we work forward with this? And but also something that he highlighted, which I'd noticed in the second half of the game, and Gareth pointed out, was that they lost their mojo a bit, England. It really went a bit flat. And I can remember thinking, well, come on, England fans, where are you? You've gone flat. So again, how about us all taking some responsibility here? Because in that moment, the England fans could have, raised their energy and raised it in some way. We've all got a part to play in what's going on. So there's lots of lessons there. And I think one of the big lessons that's come out of this, that's highlighted, and I think for me, I'm embracing, is it is really bringing to the fore the racism that's going on and highlighting it. And this is a great opportunity to really nip that in the bud and get to grips with that and shift the focus on the great things that have happened, rather than focus on all the negative and putting people down, because there is only a few people doing that, but they're getting all the attention. Shift the attention, and wow, England got to the final. That was an achievement in itself. That team and the way they played when I watched them in their games was amazing. And they are, I think, was it said they're the youngest team? All the players are really young. So they've got places to go. They can only, move on from this. Next year, we've got the World Cup. They can bounce from this. Yeah. And that's the life lesson there. Bounce on, come back stronger.
I look at what you guys were saying in looking at life's lessons, and something we talk about in education is teaching kids that it's okay to fail forward. And so when they think that they failed at something, it's actually a learning opportunity. And in that learning opportunity, we are allowed to fail forward and then take the next step and learn from what we were not understanding and then go forward in something. And so, but you have that choice to view it as a failure or as a chance to learn. And I think that's something that's really important, is because it's our own perspective and how we choose to look at a situation as either a learning point or as if we're just going to give up. And so I think, like, I didn't watch the soccer game or the football game. It's soccer in Canada. But I know that lots of people here were watching it, and in soccer there's so many different things, because I play soccer but I don't watch it. But I know that there's so many different things that any player can always learn from any game, as I didn't kick it hard enough, or I should have ran this way when I ran this way instead. And I think that you can take like sports activities as life lessons too. So when you go in one direction in life and then you come to a point and you're like, ooh, maybe I should have taken this road instead, and you can learn from those each of those points, and each thing is an opportunity to learn. Or you can look at it as a failure and then end up in a more depressive state. Whereas if you look at it as every opportunity as a learning opportunity, then it really gives you a chance to grow. And I think looking at things from a learning perspective, it gives you that opportunity to grow, which is something that all people need. And when we grow from a situation, and that's when people start to bloom, and you see that people come alive, and that they're growing and they're passionate and they have those things, but they wouldn't have had those passions and that glow to them if they hadn't have had those struggles. And I think any struggle in our life is this opportunity to grow and rise above. And anybody that I really look up to and really admire is someone who's gone through hardships, who's gone through hardships and come up on the other end as a positive, loving, inspirational person. If someone goes through hardships and they're so negative about them, I don't look to them as an inspiration. I look to them as like, oh, that person is like really negative about life. I don't want to be like that person. I want to have people who have been through struggles and come out the other side and have this this spark for life. And I think that's something that's so important, is that any time we come to a struggle, we can grow from that and then become more energetic and vibrant and empowered in our life's journey.
I agree with Amanda, and also Carol Ann, you talk about racism, because now they're talking about racism. I think they just need to, England did really well until Mr. Coronavirus interfered with the England game anyway, by the way. They should have, I don't know who should have won. I'm not going to say Italy would have won or England would have won, but Mr. Coronavirus interfered with my team, and I felt him when he entered the stadium, and I was like, this is it. Because when he enters the place, he controls everything. He's a god. He controls everything. So I basically knew it, but I didn't know that. And England started chopping, and I was like, that's it. But that was it. But I know that England should have had their own opportunity. I'm not taking side for them, but I know that they should have. For me, I would have liked to see them winning fair, but he took that opportunity away from me because I can feel it. So is this thing that, you know, the celebrities, some of the celebrities, they talk about they've joined it, but it keeps interfering, and now is on earth basically with the coronavirus. If you notice it, when we're coming on lockdown, coming out, when the government announced coming out on lockdown, the virus goes up. So that means it keeps appearing. It is appearing those times when the virus, when we are about to be told the rules of lockdown, he says no. That means he will just keep playing people until the virus goes up. So he is basically played England. And I wish I can say England lost. And I wish I can say Italy won, but I don't know who would have won because I'm not a psychic, I'm not a prophecy, but I can feel the different energy. When he entered, basically when they said the penalties, he basically entered the stadium. So I wish England would have won, but that's not my place. So it's life that is taught me that as a person that basically, what Amanda is saying, that in life we learn. Life is basically a process. You have to treat life as, like when England was playing, I got really excited, but I didn't pray for my country. And that taught me something, that I knew that England was going to play, and I knew it was a very, very important part in my life. For England to win, it was very, very important for me. But I said I was a Christian, but I didn't get time to actually pray. But I did pray when I felt that he was in the stadium. I did pray about it, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. But I wish I had prayed. I wish we had prayed for our country to actually win, but we didn't. I'm sure some people did, but I didn't. I'm putting my hands up. I forgot. I didn't. I was praying, but I didn't mention England to win, which that's what the devil wanted me to forget. So I've learned something out of it. I know some people, if you meet somebody when they say England, not happy England, they're like, oh, we didn't expect them to win. But we need to bring that positive energy to our environment. So what did we learn about that? The process of England not winning and England going to the final. We learned that in life, everything is possible. If England got the trophy, Italy would have cried. But we grateful. I've learned to be grateful to God that they went through to the finals, and they got a chance to actually being there. And everyone, when people are talking about Italy, it's a history for England that everyone is going to be saying in 2021, England went to the final with Italy. So it's not just going to be Italy. And for me, that is the lesson that I have learned, that I'm learning something, even with my business. I'm learning something, and I'm not going to lie, when I enter competition for the awards, I don't want number 2 with matchmakers. I don't want that. So for me to get the results that I want, that means I have to make sure that my company profile is up to date. I have to make sure that when I go on social media, actually I learn from the companies that have been running for a very long time. I go and look at their social media. And if I look at their social media, then I look at my company, because I'm training myself. I look at myself. What can I improve? Not to be better than them, but how can I improve using their strategy, my competitors, so I can improve my company. But then not to be better than them. When someone goes to my company profile, to all my social media, when they look at it as Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency. Not when they go to my Instagram, they remember somebody else's company that is similar to mine. So that's why I don't post pictures, I post videos. So when people go to my company, they won't forget it because it's different. So that's what I train myself. Life is training me, and the other people around me as well. They are actually training me to become like Amanda, Carol Ann. We all learn, we all train each other. So when I listen to Amanda, when I listen to Carol Ann, I'm learning something and I'm training myself. I go and sit down and list my thoughts, and I put that everything into practice. Basically, it's just surrendering too much. I know everything, and be willing to learn. And so that's my character. And I've learned with the England that not everything means, but that's how life is.
Mm-hmm. And I love the way you said you prayed, but you didn't actually mention England.
Honestly, honestly, that was the devil. I admit it that I didn't pray for my country.
No. But I did at one point. I did, and it was like, but they still didn't win. And I'm thinking, okay, you let me down. Then it's easy to go on that route, isn't it? Oh, he doesn't listen to me. But actually, what was there was maybe there's something for us to learn from this. You know, things happen for a reason, and it's remembering things don't happen to us. They happen for us. And so that happened for England because, as you're saying, you know, there's an experience there. They've had an experience of a major game. The pressures that they can be under, and actually how well they can do and how well they played as a team. And now they've had that feel, they've had that taste, you know. Learn from that and be ready for the next one. And it's about not letting yourself get down because you've lost or throw a wobbly. And there was a question asked on a program yesterday about is losing an important lesson for your children? And I know that I think at one point they stopped competitive sports in schools because that was not fair. You know, someone's going to lose. Well, where do you learn that competitive edge? And I know when I play games with my grandchildren, my grandson can be a really sore loser. How is that going to serve him in life? You know, sometimes we don't get what we want. We do lose, but it's about being able to be, you know, a graceful loser and be able to move on. So I'm really, I think it's important to play games where there is a win and lose situation. And so you can learn. I don't like losers. I have that competitive, oh, I'm going to win. But if I do lose, then Okay, so what happened here? You know, it doesn't serve you to throw a wobbly or to get angry about it. Learn from it. You know, who were you being as you were playing? How did, you know, what were you thinking? Were you fully focused? And how can you play differently next time? So I really think it is important that we teach them to lose, or they have games where they win and lose. And I know in this day and age, we talk about having, you know, doing collaborations and having a win-win situation, which is great, you know, and there are games out there whereby you play as a team. It's not a competitive game. There's some box games out there which I've played, and you have to play so that you both win, you know. So there's both scenarios. It's not about excluding one for the sake of another one. You need experience of both. So I really think it's important, you know, to have a lesson about losing. I don't know what your thoughts are, Amanda.
Well, I know in schools we don't focus on the competition, but we definitely have games where people win and lose. And I always have kids sometimes when they lose a game, they're like so upset. And I'm like, but did you have fun? Because the purpose of gym and like the activities we do at school in the physics, like in the gym anyways, are to learn some like physical moves and some skills, but also it's to have fun. And if you had fun, then who cares who won or lost, right? Like the purpose of it is to get you up and moving, to get you running around, to get you getting your energy out, and to learn some physical skills. And if you did that during that time, whether you won or lost the game, it doesn't matter. I'm like, you are not playing for money. Like, it doesn't matter if you won or lost. But I think that's important for kids, is to learn how to lose gracefully. And I always would say to people, like, I would rather, because I play soccer, football in England, and I always would say I would rather lose a really good game against a fun team than win against a team that is like overly competitive or like just plays dirty, right? Like I would rather lose to a game that where we're more equally competitions, because then you're learning, you're having fun, you don't have, like, because some teams play dirty, like they'll push when they're not supposed to, and stuff like that. And so just to try to win because they think winning is the most important thing, but it's truly not. When I go to play soccer, because I'm old now, I just go to play to run around and get some exercise. I like always joke around that I'm like the grandma on the team, and they're like, no, you're the same age as us. I'm literally at least 10 years older than all of you. And so I'm like, I just go to be active and to run around and to have fun and to get myself, again, I wouldn't be getting that exercise if I didn't have the accountability of showing up for my game, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, I'll just watch TV, or oh, I'll just do that. But when you have something that's holding you accountable, like a personal trainer or life's things, then you show up and you try and you make yourself better. And in each game you can learn something, but also in school too, there's games where you win and lose. And I always tell the kids, especially at recess when they're playing soccer or football from your end of the world, they come in and they're arguing about if that last goal counted or not. And I'm like, you guys are not getting paid to do this. It doesn't matter. The game's over when the bell rings. Let's just not let it ruin your day. Don't let losing ruin your day. And I think that's such an important thing to learn for anybody, is don't let losing a game ruin your day or your week or your month. Like, learn from it, and then it's time to move on. And so I'm sure that England's soccer team has a lot that they've learned from this last situation, from losing that game, but they'll come back stronger in another area for sure, or in the next time that there's, I don't follow soccer that well. I'm the worst.
It's the World Cup next year, so.
World Cup. I thought it was the World Cup this time. I was like, oh, did they win the World Cup? And they're like, it wasn't the World Cup. I was like, oh. I'm like, they're like, you play soccer. I'm like, I know, but I don't really watch TV. Or sports on TV for that matter. Like hockey's really big here, and I'm like, I don't even like when there's hockey games around. I'm like, is it the Stanley Cup yet? I don't know. Are they done? Is it the final game? But yeah, I think that we can learn from any situation, and really that when we're teaching kids about sports and about competition, that it is a really good thing to lose sometimes, because it teaches them compassion, it teaches them empathy, it teaches them how to be compassionate winners or losers and not sore losers. And I think that's something that's really important in life's journey.
Yeah, and knowing how to deal with the emotions that come up, and sitting down and discussing, or what happened, why you don't think it's fair, or so like you say with the children when they're arguing about it, it's like just have a discussion about it. There's an opportunity to learn to discuss and to come to a place of resolution so they can let it go or understand their emotions around it, isn't it? Sort of, well, what is it you're feeling right now, and be able to describe their emotions and what is it that caused that, and own it, and then be able to move forward so you can actually lay it to rest, and it doesn't then bubble up because it's not festering, it's not pushed to one side and sort of festering and will come back again. That there is a great opportunity for learning, I believe, and one that sometimes goes a bit, sort of gets lost in the need to sort of get on with the academic side of learning.
Yeah, I think it is important, like Carol Ann, you were asking, is it okay for children to actually compete against each other at school? I think for somebody to win or lose the winning competition, I think the children has to continue with those competition, like more sports, or like competing against each other, so they can understand, because life is about winning. So if they stop children competing, then they won't be able to understand the difference between life, because we have to learn from a very young age that somehow you are going to be disappointed in life. My daughter started dancing when she was 4 or 3. I think she was 3. So when she started dancing, her teacher realized that actually she was good at what she does, and she started competitions when she was 5. And since that age, she kept winning and kept winning and kept winning. But I every day when she went for competition, I used to explain to her that, listen, life is not about going on stage and becoming number 1. You have to understand that, because the day you don't become number 1, if you don't know how to handle disappointment, you're going to be disappointed and you're not going to go back on stage again. So I used to explain to her that you are good. You have to see yourself for how good you are for somebody else to be able to tell you are number 1. Because that day when you become number 2, you're not going to see yourself as you're good enough. So I used to explain to her over and over, she'd go and get the trophy, number one. But there was a time where she went to a phase where she would become number 2. She'll become number 3, because she already understood that. And the parents basically will protest. They used to protest. I think the judges were like, she becomes number 1 every time. And then the parents will protest and say, but she was good. So I will be like, and then they'll come to me in front of her and say, but how come she came number 1? Number 2, she was really good. She has not changed. I'll be like, that is life. So in life, you have to understand that you're not gonna win all the time. And because I taught her that, when she didn't come fast, it didn't bother her, or even if it did a little bit, but she continued with her dancing. She continued loving what she does. And I refused to actually, when the agents, when she was 7, for her to start acting. And I was like, you need to start acting when you understand what does it mean to actually be an actor. You need to be in that age where you need to understand it first. I don't want to be a parent that is taking you and then you start thinking it was my mom. But then when she was older, she could see the difference, that it is a hard work. Do you want to continue? Yes, you continue going. So I think at school they need to, I don't like the awards that they give to the children, like who has been better in the week in front of the kids. Like the children turn up Monday to Friday, and then every Friday in England there's a child that has to be given an award for being amazing. I don't think those awards are actually encouraging, motivate children. I think because Kela was like, Mommy, does it mean I have not been amazing all week? And I was like, never mind. You don't need anyone telling you that you've been amazing. You've not been amazing all week. But I think for the children, basically to be able to compete, to be able, because some children, they are talented, they need to understand the difference between being a winner and a loser. So, and also when you understand the difference is that day you might have had a bad day, or the mindset is not in the right place. Because if you want a winning mindset, you've got to have that winning mindset that I am going to win and I'm willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. So I think the school need to continue that. It helps the children. It helped me when I started competition when I was young, with the music, with the sports. I loved it. When seeing someone else winning or I'm winning, it was nice. It taught me to work hard. For me, if I see that day, if I didn't get the results that I wanted, it taught me to go and practice more. Cut down on TV, cut down on things, and focus. Over to you, Carol.
Yeah, I can remember going into a dance competition, and I didn't get very far with it, and I remember being really disappointed. I don't think I went into another one, but I wasn't given that talk, that my mum wasn't that way to sort of say, well, bounce back or look at emotions or anything like that and learn from it. It was really disappointing, and I made it mean something about myself. And that's where disappointment comes from, is where you make it mean something about yourself. I'm not good enough, or I'm not up to it. Then that's where the disappointment is. If you just accept, well, I didn't achieve, I didn't win, there's something here to me to learn from, and not attach a meaning to it, there is no disappointment. There is just what is. I didn't win. That's it. What could I do next time to make sure I could win, or I'd be closer to winning? And just take the emotion from it. But I always remember that dance competition. It did actually. I did let myself get very disappointed and made myself very wrong. That I wasn't good enough and everything else. I've since sort of done some work around that to clear that, because again that stays with you. As you grow up, you don't realize that it fades into the background and you maybe forget the memory, but the impact of it stays with you, and that will cause you to then hold back on moving forward or putting yourself forward for things in your life or in your business, or wanting to take on something that's maybe you think, oh no, it's that memory that is holding you back. So that needs to be healed. That inner child needs to be healed. So if you can heal it to start with, before it stays there, and then inner child can grow up and let go of it, you're more likely to be able to move on and step into challenges and grow. Yeah. So, I acknowledge you for having that mindset with your daughter and letting her grow up in that way with that attitude towards it, because that allowed her to grow and grow. Absolutely amazing. So well done. Yeah, it's exciting. So what are your thoughts, Amanda?
Oh, Nomza was talking. She was just muted.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was saying for her to get the prize that she needed all the time, she had to work for it. So I had to explain to her that when everyone is playing outside, you're going to have to practice upstairs in your room. So that was the choice that she had to make herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that we always have a choice in any situation. And so if there's something in your life that you're not loving, you have a choice to change it. And only you can be the one that will step up and change that part of your life if there's aspects of your life that you're not happy with. And I think that can be a huge lesson, is to look at things in your life and say, oh, I'm really happy in this area. I may be struggling in this area, and what can I do to change it? Because nobody's going to step up and do the work for you. You have to be the one that's going to do the work, especially when we look at mental health things, or if we're looking at competing in sports or in music or in something. You have to be the one that steps up and does the work. No one is going to get you off that couch and make you do it. You have to at some point become accountable for yourself. And I think that's something that's so important, is that you really have goals and dreams and things that you want to achieve, that you really have to step up and take control of your life and not blame other people for the situation that you're in. And then look at the aspects that are positive and look at how you've made those aspects of your life grow. And but it takes time to nurture, just like a garden. You can't just plant a garden and then it grow and be beautiful. You have to take care of it constantly and keep watering it and keep tending to it and keep pulling the weeds out from in between the plants to get it to truly blossom. And I think that's what we have to look at in life too, so often now, because so much of our world is like instantaneous. You learning how to tend to something for a while and to keep working at something that takes a long time is not something that many people are willing to do. And I think that's something that we need to teach children, especially because they're so used to this instant gratification. And when we don't have that instant gratification and we have to work towards something, it's something that I think this generation coming up is going to really struggle with, because they're so used to getting everything they want, having instant gratification, not actually working towards what they want. Because I know even for my daughter, I look at the things that she has and I'm like, oh man, you have it like so good. But you like don't appreciate it. And I think that's like, she was like, I want some money because I want to go and buy all these things. I'm like, you ran out of money, kid. Like, you need to learn how to like make money. And I'm like, I'm not going to just buy things for you all the time. You're 10, you can step up and you can do things to earn money. So that, and it can even be outside of our house. Like I was like, you can call your aunt and uncle and see if you can help out around their house. Like, you can do so many different things. And really, her not having money is her own fault, because she had a lot of money in her account and now she doesn't have any because she spent it all on shopping or going to the like store to buy Slurpees or whatever. And I'm like, no, you need, like, I'm not going to just bail you out. I'm not going to bail you out of this. You need to solve this problem on your own. And I think that's something that sometimes parents just swoop in and save their children. And really, you're not doing them any favors if you're constantly doing that. Yes, you can help them out. Yes, when my daughter needs something, that's something that I will buy her. But if it's just something she wants because she wants it, I always say, would say to her when we were going to the mall, we are going to the mall to get you a bathing suit. You need a bathing suit. But if there's something else that you want, I'm not paying for it. It's coming out of your own account, because there are things like, you have everything. If there's something that you need, I will buy it for you. If it's something that you want, that's your responsibility. And so I think as parents, sometimes we just give kids everything that they want all the time, and they don't actually have to earn or learn how to take care of that. And then we're not training them to become functioning members of society. We're training them to just accept being taken care of constantly, and that's not what we need. We need people who can take care of themselves and who have compassion and empathy for others, and who can help empower each other, and who can help their friends learn, and who can truly change society and have a passion for different areas. And I think so many kids right now are missing that. They're missing because they spend so much time in front of video games or different things that are all consuming their phones. My daughter's, I have an hour time limit, and even with the hour time limit on her phone, I already cringe because I'm like, get off that thing, go do something productive. But I do get the need to just have rest as well. But I think sometimes when you're handed everything, you're not truly learning from it. And when you take life as your personal trainer, you need to strive to achieve things on your own.
That is so true. You have to teach the children, because you're not going to always be there for them. And for me, my daughter, I have a joint account with her dad, so she has that card for the joint account, but she doesn't use the money. She just carry the card so that she doesn't, I don't want her to steal. I don't want her to start doing things that she shouldn't be doing. But she knows that she just buys a drink, she buys crisps when she needs it. But she knows that if she spends something, she has to do the work, the housework at home, because she's carrying my card. So she looks after her sister. She does homework with her sister. Sometimes she cooks, and she's 14. Sometimes but I let her cook once a week, not twice, because when she cooks, you have to be prepared to spend 2 hours in the kitchen washing up. Honestly, she's very good at cooking, very bad, and she uses everything basically. So it is nice to teach the kids, because like myself, I am where I am today because my parents were not soft with me. They didn't spoil me. They used to explain to me that this is what life is about. And that helps me when I was older to understand that I had to actually make the choices, make decisions, like Amanda, you were talking about the choices that we make in life. So I had to make those choices based on what my parents told me, that listen, we are where we are. We never had this life before. And if you want to have a good life in this life, you're going to have to do the work. And my stepdad comes from a wealthy family. And if I went to him, I say what I want. He'll say, yes, I'm willing to give you what I want, what you want. But what are you willing to do for it? You give me the work. I said, bring it on. I need the money and I need to go and buy this. And I'm going to do the work. And but when I started working, he didn't ask those questions. If I needed the money, just give it to me, because he knew that I was independent. I was working, and you see him as a parent being proud that I'm independent. And that made him really happy. That made my parents really, really happy. So I think it is nice to actually train your children. Like Carol Anna, you were saying, when things didn't go like with the competition, you put the label on your feelings, but it didn't mean that when you didn't win that time, it didn't mean that you were bad. It's just, it depends with the judges that day. If the judges is having a bad day, guess what? You're gonna have bad day with the results. Basically, she's just gonna keep having a bad day because her life is not going well. So basically, he or she, they are human beings. So if you don't pass through the competition, that means that day doesn't mean you were bad, or it means that somebody else, they had to see somebody else being better than you. But are they actually better than you? No. You get to make that choice of putting the work. You get to go back to the slaughterhouse and say, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get on with it. That's what happens when you lose. When you feel like a loser, you have to look at the options. You have to look at your weaknesses, and which is what I do myself. I look at my weaknesses. What am I this? And then I start learning. Like I was looking at where I need to go with my business. So I approached the local business skills company in my area, and I said to them, listen, this is what I need to help with. This is what I need to help with. Too much paperwork, too much assessment, but it's fine. And I'm having the phone call with the guy next week just to have a look at, because they have access with the companies that I don't have access with, like, and they have trainings as well, and the trainings are free. So if I feel like now is coronavirus, if he feels that they can help me with this training, with that, then that means my company is gonna grow, because I'm willing to recognize my weaknesses and I'm willing to recognize my strength. And that's what it's all about. You have to train yourself. I stopped labeling my feelings. Honestly, when I look at my children, even if they say something that is hurtful, because the children are always right at this moment, they got to this age where everything they say, they think parents are mean. So when they say something, I just say, you know what, just go. I tend not to label the feelings, because when you label the feeling, whatever you're labeling in that feelings that comes up is gonna be your reality. So I intended to say, okay, Nomsa, calm down. You've lost it right now. Calm down. And what's the next step forward? What is the next step forward? So that's what life is about. You have to train yourself. You have to be able to recognize your strength. You have to be able to recognize your weaknesses. And no one can define your strength. No one can define your weaknesses. Only you can tell yourself that you are a loser. Only you can tell yourself that you are a winner. Over to you, Carol Ann.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is all part of lifelong learning. This is what lifelong learning is about. And it is about being willing to continue with learning from life's lessons, but also willing to explore and learn about other subjects, take on other hobbies, because the more we can learn, the more we're keeping active, and the more skills we have and education we have. It has been shown that the more healthy we can be, there is a correlation. So keeping yourself active, keeping your mind alert, because the thing is, once you've learned something, then it's just easy. Your brain is just going, okay, got that. When you introduce something that you don't know, it's like, oh, what's that? And yes, that takes a bit of time to pick up. But again, once you've learned it and you've practiced it, the brain goes, okay, got that. And that's where you then, if you let yourself fall into that sedentary way of, oh, well, I've got this, and not pushing yourself to learn something else, your body just winds down. And that's the road out of here, It's keeping going. It is learning something else. What else can I learn? And learning from the lessons that are presented to you. And if you haven't, well, what's here for me to learn now? What more could I be reading? What could I be writing? What could I be researching? What could I be looking at? Who could I be talking to? Having conversations with someone. There's all different ways of learning. It's not just about reading, not just about writing. There's having conversations. There's watching videos. There's taking part in activities, and I'm actually looking forward. I just today booked to go on an in-person training in September. Someone's put on, this day where we can work on our business and get together in person. And I just thought, okay, I booked it. I'm so excited. I'm thinking, I suddenly feel alive, as if I've got something to look forward to, rather than it's here, it's on the screen again. It's something active. There's going to be, having conversation in a different way with people in person is different to having conversation here on the screen, so it's going back to that again. And there's a skill with business in networking, in communicating with people. So there's always something to learn. So it's life, it's just because you finish school doesn't mean education is over. That's when it starts, the whole thing really kicks into play. So those people that are thinking, I've done my time, I did school, think again, because there's always something to learn, always. Yeah.
I think we live in a really unique time where you have the opportunity to learn almost anything you want at the click of your fingers. And so I think that's something that's really empowering. Like, you want to learn how to change the light bulb in your car? Just YouTube it, because somebody's shown you how to do it. I don't necessarily think I would attempt it, but I know that people do that for so many different things. There's so many opportunities to learn all of the time. I know with my books that I can learn so many different things off of so many different ways, from different groups on Facebook to YouTube videos to connecting with other authors. There's so many different ways that I can learn and continue to grow as an author and as an indie author who self-publishes books. There's so many opportunities to grow and to learn constantly. And I think that it's really putting that time in. Sorry, Sadie wants to be part of the show. But I think that in growth, we always have to look at what it is we want to achieve and put that time into keeping to work towards our goals.
Thank you so much, ladies. I think we've run out of time. Any words of encouragement, Carol Ann, please? You would like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, just have fun with whatever, shows up. For me, it's dancing with what shows up. It's a dance. Yeah, it's not an argument or a tussle. It's a dance. So dance with what life presents you and go, okay, so what is here for me to learn now? How can I learn this lesson? Who do I need to speak with? What do I need to do? And dance with it and have fun.
Thank you so much. I said dancing barefoot in the rain. Thank you so much. Over to you, Amanda, please.
I think so much of life has to do with mindset. And if we learn from something that we think is a failure, we have that opportunity to change our mindset, say, what can we learn from it, and fail forward. And I think that's something that really needs to be taught in our schools and taught to everyone, is that something that you view as a failure is actually a wonderful learning opportunity. And that's how life can be your personal trainer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone who is watching. Please continue to treat your life as your personal trainer. When you fall, pick yourself up. Learn from that fall. When you succeed, Remember where you've been so you can enjoy life, not to be scared. Get rid of fear, just enjoy life. Not saying, oh, I've been in poverty, so that means that I have to be careful of money. Just enjoy your life because you've trained yourself to be where you are. So enjoy your life. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Show Monday to Friday, UK time, 1 p.m. And if you're watching this later on, please press some love button and share some love with your loved ones. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless you.